If you've been waiting for me to side with the Republicans on something, this video, it's for you. On February 13th, 2016, Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia died, leaving a vacancy on the High Court. With Obama having just 3.5 weeks short of an entire year left on his second term, 341 days, the Republicans quickly decided that the president's nominee, whomever it was, would be aborted because of the lateness of the term, and because there was an election underway. Among other things, Republicans cited the so-called Biden rule, suggesting that no nominee should be considered late in a president's term just before an election. The problem with that was twofold. First, the rule was never a rule, nor had it ever been practiced by either party. Second, there was another part to that so-called Biden rule seemingly and conveniently forgotten by the Republicans.
If the president consults and cooperates with the Senate, or moderates his selections absent consultation, then his nominees may enjoy my support, as did Justices Kennedy and Souter.
Did you hear that? If the president, either in consultation with the Senate or on his own, put forth a moderate consensus nominee, then Senator Joe Biden, the very namesake of the so-called Biden rule, would have supported the president's nominee, even late in the term, and that was a president of another party. So when President Obama nominated a moderate justice who had previously garnered praise from Republicans, some even calling him a consensus candidate, the Republicans followed the so-called Biden rule and finally gave Merrick Garland a hearing and a vote. Stop. No, they did not. Jeez, you cannot trust that guy. Am I right? They continued to block the president's nominee. Now, while I originally found, and still do, this so-called Biden rule tactic abhorrent and blatantly disingenuous, this was not the only argument offered by Republicans. They also offered a more reasoned approach, saying that it was a matter of genuine principle.
The decision the Senate announced weeks ago remains about a principle and not a person.
I'm not going to change my position because it's based on the principle.
That principle, the principle that I too am embracing, is the right of the voters to have a say in the direction of our Supreme Court. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said, "This is something the American people should decide." House Speaker Paul Ryan said, "We should let the American people decide the direction of the court." Senate Judiciary Chair Charles Grassley said, "A lifetime appointment that could dramatically impact individual freedoms and change the direction of the court for at least a generation is too important to get bogged down in politics. The American people shouldn't be denied a voice." Senate Judiciary member John Cornyn said, "At this critical juncture in our nation's history, Texans and the American people deserve to have a say in the selection of the next lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court." And finally, James Inhofe said, "I will oppose this nomination as I firmly believe we must let the people decide the Supreme Court's future." This is the principled argument offered by Republicans with which I can wholeheartedly agree. Voters in 2008 and 2012 gave President Obama a combined electoral victory of 13.5 million votes. President Obama was the first president since Eisenhower to win 51% of the popular vote twice. And voters in 6 of the last 7 elections have voted for a Democrat as the person they want to fill vacancies on the Supreme Court. Now, in all fairness, Republicans often talked about this principle with reference to the next president. But I've looked really hard and I have yet to find a single instance where that idea was not accompanied by a statement regarding the people and their right to have a say. Well, the people have now spoken loudly and clearly. By nearly 3 million votes, the people once again chose a Democrat as the person they want to fill vacancies on the Supreme Court. Remember, the Republicans never said that their principled argument was about the will of the electors or the Electoral College. They said it was about the people and what they wanted. If it's really all about the people, and I believe I've shown that the Republicans have been absolutely emphatic on this point, then if Obama's 13.5 million person victory didn't give him the right to appoint a justice, how does someone who lost the popular vote by nearly 3 million have that right? I'm sure the Republicans who share my concern that the people be heard must be wondering the same thing. So I'm calling on Democrats in the Senate to block any nomination by whatever means possible made by President Trump until he puts forth a nominee which both Democrats and Republicans can get behind. Maybe even someone like, I don't know, Merrick Garland? Who knows? Because a lifetime appointment that could dramatically impact individual freedoms and change the direction of the court for at least a generation is too important to get bogged down in politics. The American people shouldn't be denied a voice.